What's good, people? It's about that time to randomly relate, reverse rant. No hate. Now, forgive me for my hand being not so steady right now because my phone's not in my tripod. But I want to show you guys something. Now, we all know that Shakur Stevenson and Frank Martin were supposed to fight. Shout out to TLC LLC, one of the fam, because you made a comment in the community section that I noticed, but nobody was really bringing it up, which was how the hell is this fight supposed to happen on a Thursday, right? Weird. So unless that was some type of misprint, that's what it said, right? And that's what we was hearing. So anyway, it was just weird to me, but y'all know that I do this. I look at the rankings often. I don't always talk about them, but I do at times. And this is the time where I feel this is, again, nothing new. Nothing unusual, but it's like the BS will never stop, will it? Okay. Under the WBC, as we know that, Devin Haney's the champ all across the board. But under the WBC, Frank Martin is ranked number 2. Now, I like Frank Martin as a fighter. I just don't understand who did he beat to become number 2? Now, the one justice that was done is that Shakur is still number 1, whereas they dropped him for Lomachenko, immediately after the Lomachenko-Haney loss, and basically knocked him, and Shakur was not only number 1, but mandatory. So that right there should have never even happened. But how does Frank Martin become number 2? I don't know. So if you wanted to be fair and say, okay, well, we'll have Lomachenko stay at number 2, which I don't understand how you lose, and which a lot of times that does happen. The fighter lose and they keep him at a high ranking. It's not like Devin Haney destroyed him. You understand what I mean? But it was just one of these things. Well, here's my thing, okay? Now, Isaac Cruz is number 4. Now, personally, I think Cruz should be ranked higher than Martin. Now, whether Martin would beat him in a fight or not, I don't know. But I think he should be ranked higher. Now, Keyshawn Davis, that is more of Frank Martin's type of, his caliber of fighter. He's ranked number 12. And if you look across the board, Isaac Cruz is number 1 under the WBA. Frank Martin is number 3, Lomachenko's 4. So they stayed consistent with keeping Frank Martin ahead of Lomachenko, even in the WBA. Okay, so Shakur Stevenson is number 7 under the WBA. There's no one on this list that people think can beat Shakur Stevenson, with the exception of Tank Davis. Some people think that, and then some think Lomachenko can. Okay, George Kambosos is ranked, where is he at? He's 11 on here, and he's 10 with the WBC and 11 with the WBA. Okay, Lomachenko is number 3 under the IBF. All right, Isaac Cruz is 4, Shakur Stevenson is 5, Frank Martin is 6. I mean, Keyshawn Davis is 10. I'm not looking at every single person. I'm looking at the notable names, but, it's just so inconsistent how they have these rankings, and they're different sanctioning bodies, but it's crap, man. Look, Shakur Stevenson is number 1 under the WBO. Lomachenko is 2. Isaac Cruz is 3. Okay, Frank Martin is 6. Keyshawn Davis is 8. And George Kambosos, he's not even ranked under the WBO. So with all of this, fighters paying sanctioning fees and all of this type of stuff that goes on, it doesn't help boxing, but I fail to see how you can be ranked so high. This is what I really don't like about these sanctioning bodies, and what I've never liked. It's like in the NFL, a team is ranked based on, where they stand, their win-loss records. And then, in the playoffs, they need a certain team to lose, they need a win in order for them to get in, type of thing. Okay, but that's something consistent. You know, you look at it in MMA, man, these guys are ranked. There's no multiple sanctioning bodies and all of that. And that, you know, this is something in boxing that's been going on. And it's like people don't know how to fix it or care to fix it. Because multiple sanctioning bodies means more money for all of these different sanctioning bodies. If they don't exist, then how do we make money? So that's all it is. It's basically they're more concerned on the business model of them just lining their pockets. So I don't think that's ever going to change, man. And if it does, it's going to take some really, really powerful minds and people that really care about boxing. It's always going to be business first, but they have to actually care about boxing and the boxers. Because in all honesty, as long as fans are clamoring to things, they're going to just continue to do it. I told you guys, this whole franchise champion nonsense, I told you, it sucks to the boxing purists, but to these casuals, it makes perfect sense. Why? Especially when they handpick fighters that they like. So this is what they do. Let's pick someone with the whole country behind them. Let's pick someone who has some type of popularity, but yeah, eventually their fans are going to follow whatever they do. And then they're going to say, well, such and such did it, and such and such did it. And how come you didn't say this about all this childish shit? And yeah, it's catching on to people, to the casuals, and they are accepting of this whole franchise nonsense. So everything that happens in boxing that puts a shit stain on it, the casuals come and try to clean the shit stain off and say, it's okay. It's nothing wrong with it. You know, just saying this right here is just, it's like every time I look at something boxing affiliated and I see how things are corrupt, how things are not helping boxing, like, you know, you have a situation where something may happen and it helps the boxer financially, yeah. But in terms of boxing itself, nah, not so much. Now, notice, for example, let me show you corruption. Look at the WBA. They have Devin Haney and Tank Davis as champions. Yet they said Tank Davis' belt means nothing, right? His belt means nothing. You don't need his belt to be undisputed. So what does his belt, how do you even acknowledge that WBA shit if it means nothing? So I don't care if you call someone a super champion or whatever kind of champion or whatever. The whole point is, it's just crap. It's just another way for the sanctioning bodies to, you know, line their pockets up. Well, now that the WBO is issuing and have issued a request, they're being requested rather, okay, that Teofimo Lopez become their version of a franchise champion, right? Because of that, well, guess what? It's only a matter of time before the IBF does the same thing. It's only a matter of time before the WBO has the same exact thing. It's only a matter of time. And all of these different sanctioning bodies will handpick someone that they, you know, like you can go through this list and still pick someone like to say that they see that person as the one that they want to carry that banner for them to be their super champion or whatever. People don't understand how corrupt this is. And the thing about it is, see, it's wishful thinking to say, but what if this is a way for the best to fight the best? What the hell ever happened to the ranking system? You got 1 through 15 up here. You don't need some invisible belt in order to make these fights happen. But ignorant people don't get it. That's why they ask stupid questions. If this was for the good of boxing, then right now we would have had all of these so-called top fighters fighting each other. No, it's a way for them to keep these fighters from each other. This is why. Do you think that the WBC why do you think it's a title you can't defend or lose? They explain that to you. It has to be given to you. You only lose it if they feel like, you know what? Yeah, we got to take it off for him. He got brutally beaten or whatever. It's their discretion. They made this clear. You cannot lose this title or win it. It has to be awarded to you. Now, according to Mauricio Suleiman, Lomachenko, he requested his title. Canelo Alvarez requested to be that franchise championship, right? He requested that. Now, the WBO, you see that the same thing. They're asking the WBO. Okay, they're asking the WBO to make Teofimo Lopez their champion. So again, another fighter is requesting to be this. The WBA, I'm sorry. Because they made a type up because I'm looking at that. It said the WBO, but it's the WBA. But they're requesting that he becomes mandatory. Okay, now here's the funny thing though, right? If him becoming their franchise champion, their version of it, if that would automatically make him mandatory to fight Terrence Crawford at 147. See, and this is my point. He's not even ranked at 147. So how the fuck does that make him? Oh, if they give him the belt, then he can go up and wait. Okay, so without fighting anyone, without proving himself, he can just go up and fight Terrence Crawford. People will say, yeah, but that's a great fight. People, principles don't mean shit anymore, does it? That would be like your wife saying, baby, I love you. I love you and only you. I'm in love with you. I would never cheat on you. I only gave him a blowjob, baby, because it's $1 million. We could take that money and relocate. Nobody even remember I did it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Principles mean nothing because of money or material shit. This is greed. It's bullshit. It's one thing for Teofimo Lopez to even go up and I mean, whatever. They always want to go up and have a couple of fights before they, have a fight with a big name opponent, right? To test the waters to see what it's like, right? To fight at that weight class. What I'm saying, and you saw, I remember, I read it to you guys. So if the plan is they want him to fight Terrence Crawford, or whether they're just using Terrence Crawford's name because he's hot right now and they're trying to benefit off of it by having their name mentioned with his, because, they always talking about fighting, Canelo Alvarez at 168 at some point and all of that. Regardless to why, here's my thing. If you are given a belt and that belt allows you, which I had idiots telling me, oh, Floyd didn't know. No, there was no such thing as no fucking franchise championship when Floyd was there. Stop that bullshit. And Devin Haney, as far as him having all the belts, it doesn't make a difference. He didn't win the franchise. So even if he said, yeah, I take that bullshit too. You want to know something? It's better that he has it. And then let's say whoever he's trying to fight right now, whatever they're working out, we hear stories about him and Regis Prograde. I just seen a video saying it was confirmed. Then I seen a video, people saying, no, it's not confirmed. In fact, fuck people. Regis Prograde himself said, nah, that's cap. Nothing's been confirmed. So this is why I don't do videos about things just because I hear things. I might say word is, and then I'll look into it further because you never know what you're hearing, okay? Just like the fight being spoken about on a Thursday. The reason I didn't mention it is because that was weird to me. And I started to make a short video asking, does anybody notice that this fight is supposed to be happening on a Thursday between Frank Martin and Shakur Stevenson? But look, bottom line is this, people. If you're going to look at fairness, it has to come from every direction, from every section of boxing. It can't come from, you can't just expect the fighter to say, I want to fight this guy. Okay, fight's on. No, it has to come all around. And it's so much money involved. Nobody wants to feel like they're gambling with their money. They want you, the consumer, to gamble with your money and bet on fights and all this shit. And they want you to spend your money even if the fight winds up being a dud, a disappointing performance, whatever it may be. Bottom line is nobody's making you do it. But they use everything to get your attention. They bring something to the forefront and say that this is a great thing. And you know damn well that none of these fights that are happening is simply because somebody used a franchise championship. Like, okay, this guy's running for me. I'm going to chase him up to another weight class and fight. No, they're using it to avoid fighting the guys in their respective weight class. And see, if Teofimo goes up, fight Terrence Crawford, and then get beat the fuck up, you know what Teofimo fans are going to say? Yeah, man, but he's too small for 147. Y'all wasn't saying it before he went up, right? And that's with any fighter. Don't keep talking about Inoue versus Tank Davis. Then he comes up and winds up getting knocked out by Tank. Then, but you got to understand, he's not really, no, I don't have to understand shit. You guys keep bringing these names up and this fight should happen and that fight. Man, these guys have enough talent in their weight classes that they can fight these guys. When you're in a situation where you don't have the names, I can understand you want to go where you get some recognition. Gary Russell been suffering from that shit forever. He barely fights, and he stayed at 126 for so long. Who really cared? Out of all the champions, you had guys that wasn't even champion that they were talking about, and they wasn't talking about Gary Russell, who was the longest reigning champion at one point. At the end of the day, this right here just makes zero sense, because I have yet to see a Frank Martin fight, a Frank Martin performance that made me think this guy's at least top three at least. He's a good fighter, and I like Frank Martin as a fighter. But these rankings are ridiculous. And, you know, the fact that he just ducked Shakur Stevenson, man, let's just say it like it is. Now, there could be more to the story than we know. And I definitely will say that because we don't know. But going by the fact that they had no explanation, we're just simply not interested. No, you ducked, man. You ducked. Otherwise, you just, hey, look, there's some things going on right now that is just not comfortable where for us, our fighter going, he needs to be focused and ready. This, you know, we'll pass up on this opportunity for now, but he'll be ready. Like I told you guys, man, and I played the clip of Muhammad Ali being asked about fighting Sonny Liston at one point, and he said, nah, not right now, maybe another year or two, then I'll be ready for Sonny Liston. There's nothing wrong with being honest. But when you come out and just say, hey, look, man, you know, I'm just not, we're just not interested at this time. No explanation? Nah, man, you ducked. His own brother basically roasted him, you know, for you know, pretty much not taking this fight and no explanation. If it was an injury, then it would have been said, well, you know, Frank Martin, he got injured, you know, in training or whatever. And so, yeah, it's just best to pull out. Not just come out and say at this time, we're just not interested. That's a duck, bro. And I believe what it is this. If you guys remember, Errol Spence was constantly talking about Frank Martin and Shakur. That's the fight he wanted to see. I don't know that Frank Martin really wanted to fight Shakur. I think Errol Spence wanted that fight more than Frank Martin wanted that fight. And I believe straight up what it is, in my opinion, just from looking at what we have to go by, I feel like deep down inside, Frank Martin don't feel like he's really ready for Shakur. I that's what I really feel. And after what just happened to Errol Spence, well, how bad does that look? Here's the crazy part. Derek James just went from being called Trainer of the Year. Was it last year or whatever, or beginning of this year, however it went? I think last year, right? Trainer of the Year. To now everybody's blaming him for Errol Spence getting his ass whooped. Now what happens, Frank Martin going in, and then he gets his ass whooped by Shakur. People are going to ride this whole Derek James is a bad trainer. They made up lies saying that him and Spence was splitting up and all this shit. So it more than likely could be a simple situation of, you know what, I don't think this is a fight that you need right now. Because Frank Martin only has 15 fights, so it's not like it's like he's in dire need to have to fight Shakur Stevenson. But the point is, the fact that you accepted it, then decided to decline with no explanation, like, come on, bro, that's a duck, clearly. And at the end of the day, okay, like I said, I don't like to assume shit, but based on the fact that you have no reason as to why other than we're just simply not interested. Well, if you're not interested in fighting Shakur Stevenson, who the fuck are you interested in fighting? And this is what I'm saying. Him and a guy like Keyshawn Davis, that's his speed. Keyshawn Davis is another guy, like, you know, he's an up-and-coming guy. He say he want to fight everybody, but he is not as good, okay, as he think he is in terms of a Shakur Stevenson or a Devin Haney or a Tank Davis. Nah, not a Lomachenko. He's not beating those guys. Not right now, in my opinion. Not right now. And Frank Martin, I see him in the same category as a Keyshawn Davis. That level of competition. So the way I see it, you guys should have declined that fight from the very beginning. So what if people say, oh, he turned the fight down? You could easily say, man, listen, I don't feel like I'm ready right now. No different from Shelly Finkel being asked about putting Deontay Wilder in the ring with Vladimir Klitschko. What did Shelly say? Oh, he's just a baby. We're not going to put him in the likes of the Vladimir Klitschko. Deontay Wilder was 30 fucking years old. He was 30 years old. And people, but he got a late, yeah, we know he didn't have a long amateur experience. We know that. Frank Martin's 27. So neither one of these guys are no damn babies. Okay, but at the same time, Shelly Finkel straight up admitted it. The only problem was later on, they try to act like that never happened. So when they asked why they never fought Klitschko, the fight just never happened. No, you guys didn't want it. And remember, Deontay was the one that said, hey, at the end of the day, you're the boss. Your management, your team, they work for you. You call the shots. Okay, then. So then why didn't you call the shot and fight Klitschko? Just saying. Let's be real. Your own words. And this is what I tell people. I don't have to dig into nothing and give you my opinion on what I think without hearing you. No, I just take what you say out of your own mouth, and to flip it on you is because you say it. So why didn't you do it, right? No different. Frank Martin, they should have just turned the fight down from the beginning instead of having it announced just to turn around and give no explanation. As far as I'm concerned, it's a duck. Talk to me in the comment section. Never fall in love with lies. Remember, the truth brings hate out of people, and I will catch y'all on the next video.